An unprecedented turn in Hong Kong politics. Chief Executive Carrie Lam has been forced to suspend her annual policy address after being heckled in the Legislative Council. The policy address is supposed to lay out the government's plans for the year ahead, and it's the first time a Hong Kong leader has been unable to deliver the speech in the chamber. The writing was on the wall right from the start. Opposition lawmakers yelling and chanting as Mrs Lam made her way to the front of the chamber. Mrs Lam tried to soldier on, but the session was soon adjourned. It resumed a short time later, but eventually had to be suspended again. A pre-recorded video of her speech was televised instead. Mrs Lam highlighted the housing shortage in the city as the biggest social ill and pledged to work towards making sure that every citizen can have their own home. She also unveiled a raft of measures aimed at easing the issue. Mrs Lam also insisted the city would be able to ride out the current political storm, as Roland Lim reports.
Despite fears that protesters out on the streets would deter Mrs Lam from delivering her speech in LegCo, it was the opposition camp in the chamber that disrupted proceedings twice. Pan-Democratic camp convener Tanya Chan repeatedly heckled the chief executive, while colleague Ray Chan managed to use a projector to display 5 demands, not one less, at Mrs Lam and the chamber backdrop. In the end, LegCo President Andrew Leung called off the meeting, and Mrs Lam was forced to release a pre-recorded policy address.
雖然香港正經歷風高浪急嘅困難時期，但我相信，只要我哋準確咁緊守一國兩制原則，一定能夠走出困局。
Highlighting the lack of housing as the biggest social ill, she pledged to work towards making sure that every Hong Kong citizen can have their own home. The 10,000 transitional flats will be made available over 3 years. The average waiting time for public housing is 5 years. And the government will be using the Land Resumption Ordinance to reclaim plots from landowners to build more homes. While Mrs Lam did mention the political situation in the city, she did not offer any political solutions. Many were hoping for some sort of roadmap in order to involve more people, especially the young, in politics, or even some form of concession to the demands that the protesters on the streets have been making.
In the past 4 months, Hong Kong people have had a very difficult time, very tough time. However, our chief executive, Mrs Carrie Lam, refused to respond or to resolve the problems. Our 5 demands are very clear, not one less. And I really urge her, if she can't govern Hong Kong, please step down. This is the only way that we can have a good future.
A former security chief, Regina Ip, one of the inner cabinet advisors, defended Mrs Lam that the current address gave her little time to think of anything else.
It was drafted in very difficult and unprecedented conditions. In the middle of a months-long turmoil, and the government's priority is supposed to be stopping violence and restoring public order, So in these circumstances, the chief executive was only able to focus on land, housing, livelihood issues.
The city's biggest pro-Beijing party, the DAB, was also unhappy with the address, which its chairwoman said lacked proposals to end the unrest.
今日嘅施政報告咧，我哋認為咧係未符合市民同埋民建聯嘅期望。我哋整體對施政報告嘅評價咧係施政因循守舊，困局無力突破。不過今次咧施政報告咧就似乎喺呢方面咧係冇實質嘅具體嘅回應。
The pro-business Liberal Party also complained that there were no measures to help SMEs with cash flow problems as the city enters into a technical recession in the 3rd quarter. Roland Lim, CNA, Hong Kong.